Hey guys and ghouls, you're listening to episode 9 of AR Minuteman Moment and Airman's podcast. I'm Sergeant Rolls and I'll be your host for this week's episode. As we all know, Halloween's coming up just around the bend and we'll be taking our little kitties out to get some tricks and treats. So along with tricks and treats, there's some certain safety precautions that we need to make sure we take. So with me today, I have the experts on safety, Senior Master Sergeant J.D. Crawfish and Master Sergeant Ben Hawkins from the safety office here at the wing. Welcome, guys.
Good morning. How are you doing, Sergeant Rolls?
I'm doing great.
Outstanding.
Good.
Looks like the weather's going to be nice for Halloween this weekend. Supposed to be in the 50s at night.
Well, that's kind of cold, don't you?
No, it's going to be awesome. Fall's here. Kids are going to be out on the roads trick-or-treating.
This is true. Better have lots of candy or you might get your house TP'd.
You might, or egged. That stuff happens.
Yeah, I've seen TP, not eggs.
But again, thank you for having us here today for the podcast again with Master Sergeant Hawkins, in the safety office. Halloween safety. We need to stress that for our ghouls and our goblins that are out there trick-or-treating this weekend. Now, we all know that Halloween this year is going to be on Sunday night. A lot of towns, they are going to be, offering trick-or-treating or trunk-or-treats or that stuff on Friday night or Saturday night. So you're probably going to have a weekend of kids out in the neighborhoods trick-or-treating, depending on what the cities have decided. Right. With that, we're looking at, we've got some areas that we want to highlight during this podcast today. The first thing we want to talk about is traffic safety. Your kids are going to be walking out on the streets and the roads. They're going to be walking from house to house. Hopefully, the parents are with them. Sergeant Hawkins, what kind of statistics do we have for traffic, over the holidays?
Well, we got a few of them. Just hit on 3 of them real quick. Drivers between the ages of 18 and 25 accounted for 1/3 of all fatal Halloween car accidents. A quarter of Halloween accidents take place between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m.
What does that tell us as parents, as guardians of our kids? That, one, we need to be actively involved with our kids trick-or-treating. You just don't want to send your 6 or 7 year old out there alone trick-or-treating. The adults need to be present, so we need to be, one there watching for traffic. Again, crosswalks are probably the highest area for fatalities, as far as kids are relating. You need to look both ways before crossing the roads. You need to make sure that you're adhering to your traffic signals and signs when you're out there walking in the housing areas. Again, there's a lot of kids. I know on my street when I lived in Greenbrier, Halloween night, it was packed. You might as well not plan on going anywhere because there's going to be kids and cars everywhere, so you have to watch out for that. And again, you just want to make sure that we're watching our traffic safety.
And you can't rely on those kids to make sure.
No, because they're gonna be at one house and they're gonna get the Snickers bar, and then their buddies been to the house across the road, and they're giving away this cool candy, and so the kids are they're gonna jump and run. Mm-hmm. So again, you have to be watching out all the time. Yeah. Because and again, if you're driving out there on the roads, you need to be especially careful at night, during Halloween, because you never know when a child can just run out, from a sidewalk or on the road.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And again, traffic, it goes back to visibility. How many of us in the Air Force, know we have to wear a reflective belt during the hours of darkness? Well, Sergeant Hawkins, what kind of statistics do we have on visibility, as far as it relates to Halloween?
82% of parents fail to include any visibility aids on their kids' costumes.
How many percent?
82.
Holy cow.
That's a lot.
So you're saying that they depend strictly on just the costume alone. You would think that Halloween manufacturers of costumes would put that in there as part of the costume, but, that's only 18% of the parents that actually put some type of reflective or visibility material on their kids' costumes.
You'd always put one of those little headlamps on them, too, or one of those little orange cones you get at the clothing sales.
Yeah, or just...
Lackland lasers.
Yeah.
Lackland lasers. So, have a flashlight, some, reflective tape, something, there's all kind of little wristbands or glow-in-the-dark wristbands that you can, put on the kids that they sell during Halloween. But again, just the visibility. If that child does decide to make a break for the next house without the parent, and then at least they've got something on if you're driving down the road. So again, traffic and the visibility go hand in hand as far as that part of the safety is concerned for nighttime. Because what's going to happen? The kids, usually, what's the statistics been? I think you pulled something up on if it's Halloween, on Sunday night versus Friday night and Saturday night or during the week. There were some statistics on the fatalities, weren't there?
There is. If Halloween falls on a Friday and kids are trick-or-treating on a Friday, there's over 50 deaths on Friday. Now, if it falls on a Monday or Tuesday, the death rate is low into the 30s to 40s, but half of those are all pedestrians.
More parents are more apt to take their kids trick-or-treating if it falls on a non-school night, so on a Friday night or a Saturday night. So that's going to equate to more kids that are out there, on the roads and trick-or-treating versus, if Halloween fell on a Monday or Tuesday, and like this year on a Sunday night, they know that kids have got to get up and go to school. So it's still going to be a bunch of kids out there. Yeah, so, we talked about, traffic. Now we talk about visibility. And now we need to talk about the costumes. There's so many costumes. I mean, back in the 70s when I was a kid, your costume was a pillowcase and some face paint or some little cheap mask you got at Walmart or the dollar store. Now, you have all kind of costumes. You've got kids dressing up as R2-D2. You got kids as Darth Vader, as Yoda, as all these different things. But one of the things that the parents and everybody needs to keep in mind is that, you need to make sure that the costumes are usable. The kids have good eye openings where they can see, and good nose open where they can get plenty of oxygen, get plenty of air. And then make sure that the costumes are fitting to the kids. You don't want stuff that's a trip hazard. You've got a long costume that they can trip over. So, again, you need to take a little forethought into that costume for the kids. But, again, going back to what Sergeant Hawkins said, incorporating some visibility aspect into the costume. Reflective tape, a little reflective or a glow-in-the-dark bracelet, and that would, greatly aid in their safety. Again, every little thing that you can do can possibly help prevent, a serious mishap or even a fatality, while we're out there. And that's the one thing that we're trying to do with this podcast and the information we're putting out is just to prevent, those mishaps.
Yeah, and I don't know about every parent, but I would assume that most parents would rather go over than underprotective when it comes to taking care of their kids. So
yeah, but you always...
better safe than sorry.
You always get those, and still you get those 12, 13, 14-year-old kids that are out there running around. And most of those kids are out there causing mischief more than they are trick-or-treating.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, those are the ones that knock on the door at 10 o'clock at night wanting the candy. And they said, no, the porch light's out, the shop, the store's closed. No more candy.
Right.
So, traffic and invisibility, the costumes, and then the last, thing we want to talk about really on Halloween safety is just the candy. Make sure that, the children, or the parents are inspecting the candy that the children have got. Again, you want to, candy that's sealed in the package. You don't want the homemade caramel apple eggs or that kind of stuff, candy that's sealed in packages. And make sure, again, that the parents are looking at that candy before they let the kids consume it. Sergeant Hawkins, have you got anything as far as Halloween safety that you want to add?
Well, there's just 3 points that I think we can all change starting this year. And this is the last 3 points I'm going to make. Halloween is the deadliest day of the year for children ages 1 to 18. 12% of children under the age of 6 trick-or-treat alone. And 70% of parents do not accompany their children when trick-or-treating. You look at it, that's a lot of littles just running around.
It really is. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, hopefully people listen to this and they'll think twice about sending their kids out alone or without any type of safety measure. So.
One of the safest probably, trick-or-treating's, is what we did as kids. But, now you're seeing that churches, that organizations, even like, the 189th has trunk-or-treats, has where they're in a confined parking lot, where then there's an area that's secure, there's very little to no traffic, so they can go around from car to car, booth to booth, trick-or-treating. And again, it's a lot safer environment. So, our recommendation, to the listeners out there are, if you have the option to go to a church trunk-or-treat or a sorority or fraternity trunk-or-treat or something like that, that's going to be your safer option than going out to the neighborhoods around your local community and trick-or-treating.
Well, I know, speaking of which, the wing is actually doing a trunk-or-treat on Friday. And in addition to the trunk-or-treat, they're doing the Haunted Pavilion, right? So we have that available to people who want to participate, as well as a movie night that the Airman Family Readiness Office is going to host concurrently. I think they're playing like The Nightmare Before Christmas or some family-friendly kid movie, but very spooky. That's another option you have too. And then, like you said, trunk or treats at churches or that you attend or schools that your kids go to, anything like that. I think honestly, that's probably a much better idea.
Right. Be that force, that person that's out there, that's taking care of the kids and the children around you also to help prevent these mishaps.
And make sure you inspect their candy. I know every year when my kids were little, for some reason, their Reese cups were always infected with something, so I had to take them.
You had to eat them, huh?
I had to eat them because they were poisoned.
Yes. You wouldn't.
Only the Reese cups. Don't know why.
Mine are older, so
well,
I had the Tootsie Roll tax.
Yeah, the Tootsie Roll tax, yeah.
We are Mission Ready Airmen, providing premier training to the C-130 and cyber enterprises, capitalizing on partnerships to support the state and defend the nation. Our vision is to be a diverse family of airmen, dedicated, adaptive, and empowered to lead.